It's a new week in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called Coastal Adventures, and this is my summit guide. Let's go. All right, as always, if you're looking for my tunes, you can go to militiagamingco.com, click on Motorfest tools from the top, and there you'll find my tunes. Let's get into it. The cars for this week in the Summit bundle are going to be the Ford Bronco Rally Raid car and the Lamborghini Powerboats. You're going to need a few additional vehicles, one being the Hummer H1 Alpha Evo 2, a Vector V40R boat, a Proto WR1 with score breaker, an AGP car with score breaker, or, you know, an off-road car with score breaker, doesn't matter, a car with score breaker, and then you will for sure need a Rally Raid score breaker set that you're going to need for one of these events as well. In addition to that, you'll need the Ford F-150 race truck. The keys to the summit for sure is going to be your routes. The Rally Raid routes are going to look familiar, but the routes that you take are important. The cuts that you can make with a Rally Raid vehicle are definitely more aggressive on the dirt because Rally Raid vehicles don't slow down as much on the dirt, so it opens up a lot of different lines. Anyways, let's get into it. Here are the pro settings for the vehicles I just mentioned. All right, the first event is called a Coastline Expedition, and this one is using the loaned Proto boat. You need to buy this boat for later on anyway, but anyways, there's a few different ways to take these corners, and I recommend taking them sort of wide, but you got to hit the apex like this. You want to keep as much speed as possible, and it's tough to do that when you take super sharp corners in a boat. So notice I'm going pretty wide here, and then cutting back towards the middle of the corner. Now on this jump here, you go to the right, use air nos to get you going, make sure you clear the rock. This corner is one of those ones very tight, so make sure you make that corner. On this jump up here, you're gonna go left towards the next gate. Try to keep as much speed as possible. Save your nos here until the next cut, which is right underneath this bridge. Cut back right, hit the hill, and use your air nos there. You can stay wide here to make this turn a little bit more comfortable. And then make sure you've got enough nos for this jump. And notice when you take this turn, you don't have to cut it super tight. You kind of keep it wide, keep the speed up. But this turn here is a little bit sharper, so you want to turn in a little earlier. And then there's little spots here where you can sort of jump and get a little air nos, like this rock here. That helps with speed a lot. On this jump here, again, use a lot of air nos. Try not to hit that container. I almost did. On this turn, you're going to try to stay as inside as possible because you want to hit these rocks here. Don't hit the tree. I made a mistake and hit the tree. Now this next turn is very sharp, so you want to stay wide and then cut it back as sharp as possible because you don't want to hit those barriers, anything like that. I hit both of those for some reason. You want to hit this rock. That'll help you fly a little bit. I missed that. I want to go back to that because I didn't do it quite right. So you want to cut this very, very shallow to the inside of this corner and hit this rock. I hit it a little bit harder than I did. It's just, I didn't hit it very well, and it barely bumped me into the air enough to use the NOS air power, but it wasn't enough, man. You can actually hit this, and sometimes it'll bounce you off the arrows here on the left side and give you even more air, and that puts you way out in front. So try to do that. Now with the end of this race is really just not hitting anything and using air NOS where possible. You know, when the boat is jumping like that, just use a little bit of NOS. So there you go. Let's move on. All right, the next race is called a boat in the dark, and this one's obviously in the dark. Anyways, you should be using the Vector V40R for this one. It's the fastest boat on this course. At the beginning here, you can just stay wide of the AI. You don't want to get into the back of their splash zone. It definitely slows the boat down. Now remember, you don't have to go through these checkpoints, but you do have to get close to them. So here I'm going outside of it, but I got really close. This turn, you got a full turn, like really, really early. You can also make sure you're letting off your trim. And you can hit that rock for a little bit of air NOS. It's not always faster because if you hit it at the wrong angle, sometimes the boat will like dig into the water when you land. So just try to do that. I would say for the most part, you just want to stay slightly outside some of these and stay inside on these turns, because it allows you to cut the course very short. That one I almost missed. This one you want to stay as close to this rock as possible on the left. I didn't do it very well there. And then cut back right. Now you can get a little air up those rocks there, but that's basically the lap. So it's a little bit of practice and you guys will get it. Let's move on. All right, the next event is called a luxury journey, and this is with the Lamborghini yacht. For this one, the boat is really big and it kind of gets in your way. If you want to switch the camera, I recommend it. I don't know, for me it was just in my way visually, so I didn't really like not being able to see the front of the boat and see what I'm going to be hitting, or what waves I'm going to be crashing against. So I switched it right at the beginning here. I just kind of went into a first person, not first person, but like a tip of the boat cam, so that I could see what's going on. But then you can't see your boat at all, so that's totally up to you if that's comfortable. Anyways, the name of the game for this race is absolutely NOS management. It's really just making sure that you're not using too much at one time, because you need to be tapping it constantly to keep your boat around 170 miles an hour. Now you could go a little bit faster. You'll see it jump up to 180, but the reality is you want to make sure you're just keeping it close to 170 as much as you can. Aside from that, you're seeing me hit buoys and stuff, but that's not really on purpose. I'm just trying to get as close to the checkpoint as possible, and trying to be as smooth as possible with the steering. So that's it. There's not really any real big tricks to this one. I didn't get a world record or anything like that, but you can try your best to just hit a little bit of air NOS on some of these. I don't know. We're talking really, really small details there that are not going to make a big difference. The biggest difference is your NOS management. You notice I'm keeping it close to the top. So there you go. Let's move on. All right, the next event is called a West Coast road trip, and that's with the Hummer H1 Alpha Evo 2. This one is pretty easy actually, but the routes that you're going to take are going to be vastly different from what you're used to because of Rally Raid. So I'd recommend just using the AI a little bit for slip. It's nice to be able to get up to top speed in this section, but sometimes it doesn't work. I use the NOS here on the straight to go ahead and force the issue. The first cut is here. You can go left to this tree, then cut left. You don't have to hit the checkpoint. I lost a little bit of traction and speed because I tapped the wall. Try your best not to tap the wall. On this one, I go right and over the bushes, and then we cut back left, and we go through the fence a little bit there, cut left to this checkpoint, and then you can kind of stay on the gutter for this one. And when you get here, you can go left and get a little air NOS, and you can just work your way through. Cut to the right of this flag. I kind of messed this up. You don't actually have to hit those rocks. Stay as far left as you can here, and then cut it real close to the mountain, because this one likes to drift quite a bit. Stay to the right of this flag. You're going to cut real close to this rock here on the left. Really smooth steering here. Try not to force the issue because the car likes to slide. Stay far left, and then cut it back right, and you're going to drift this one. I drifted a little too much there, and I wasn't able to keep a good speed coming out of it. You go ahead and run here and hit this jump. Make sure you use NOS in the air there and point the car to the right. You're going to want to go inside this little cave here, obviously because you have to. And then use your NOS sparingly to get yourself to top speed. You definitely want to get close to 170. The car goes over 165 most of the time, but you can kind of keep it close to 170. Now here, there's a bunch of little like corner cuts that you can do. Like this one here, you can cut this corner, go straight across. You can also stay wide here and cut it back. And then you can also go to the right on this one just to make a more straight line. Cut it back left here. And that's basically it. Now you're home free. Just NOS management and keeping the car gripped to the road. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called a Night Ashore. And this one I recommend using the Raptor F-150 race truck. If you have the, what is it, this Outer Space Edition or whatever it is, that one seems to be getting better times. I do not own that. It is an exclusive Crew 2 vehicle, and it's just not one that I have. Now, the first cut that's different here on this race is this flag here. You can go right across the sand. You don't need to take that corner at all. So make sure you're doing that. Other than that, you're staying on the course. I do recommend using gutters on the 2 turns that are a little bit more sharp. So let me go to those real quick. One of them happens here at 30%. So just jump into the gutter and stay there. It helps the car stay more stable and gripped, and you don't have to worry about sliding on the road surface. The other one is here at about 69%. Just jump into the gutter. You might have to let off the gas a little just to stay in it. Make sure you stay in that one, because that one will actually have a pretty good effect on your speed. And then the final 2 corners here, or final couple corners, you can definitely gutter this one. I like to stay in it because I feel like it keeps the truck gripped to the road. Notice that as soon as I fell out, I ended up drifting. So I didn't really like that much on this run, but it ended up being my fastest time anyway. And you can grab that gutter as well. Then you're going to cut across here. Let me go back so you can see it. 91%. This turn, you'll cut across here. You'll go right between these trees and then reset when you get to the flag. Remember, to reset, you have to turn off rewind in your difficulty settings. And that's it. NOS to the finish line, you're there. All right, the last race is called a travel vlog, and for this one, we're on the Bronco. I recommend using the regular Bronco, not the Hawaii, the Tour edition. I think this one performs just a little bit better. Anyways, there's a lot of little things on this one. So stay to the left on this first checkpoint flag. Stay left more and use this bank to make this turn. Then go left again. Little air NOS here on the right. Make sure you point the car to the right. And then you're going to have to brake and control your speed on this corner because it's a very tight corner. Then you can use some NOS. Go right through this carport here. Stay to the left and cut it back right of the tree. And continue on through the golf course here. Cut again. And again, cut across. Then go left. Cut this flag. Again, you don't have to actually hit these flags. Just get close to them. Use your NOS to get up to speed. At the end of this straight here, 43%, you're going to cut to the flag to the right. There you go. Use some air NOS. You're going to get a little ramp there. This upcoming corner, you can kind of veer to the right. Try not to hit things. And then cut back left just to cut the corner. And then this part's kind of like the hardest part of the race just because it's silly. Use some air NOS here and point the car to the right. Now, I messed up because I hit the wall a little bit there. But as soon as you're done, this is definitely one of the more tricky spots. So as soon as you hit this, you don't want to hit this wall. You obviously want to be pointing the car to the right and sort of go at this checkpoint at an angle. You know, you're going to the right. And then when you hit this turn is way sharper than you expect. So just go ahead and drift it. Like, get into the drift early. And then the sooner you can straighten out that Bronco, the sooner you can get back to going fast again. The other tricky part is this jump here. So I like to stay wide right and then hit the ramp at an angle to the left, but don't go outside the checkpoint because the jump likes to correct what you're doing. So the farther right you can be on the ramp, but the steeper the angle left, if that makes sense. So all the way to the right, but angled left when you jump, but don't jump outside the checkpoint, right? So whatever that angle is from the far right of the ramp to the checkpoint flag, that's the angle you need to be jumping at, and it won't correct you. And if it does that, if it doesn't do that, see how it corrects me a little bit? It throws me to the right. It made me hit the wall. So the angle I took was just way too steep because I was not going to hit the flag. So I went way outside the flag and the game pushed me back into the flag. It's just one of the mechanics of this race. So anyways, that's basically it. And just get around this corner and NOS to the finish. So there you go. All right, let my feats play out in their entirety. But on the bullseye, just make sure you set your favorite to the vehicles that have your score breaker parts on it. right, here are my final scores. Make sure you DM me with any questions. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope this helps. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.